Hello everyone, my name is Max Pieper and I'm working for the Product Innovation Lounge as a 3D modeler. Most of the time I'm working with Grasshopper for the automotive industry, and here I want to show you some tutorials about the Attractor Points, and in the end we want to come up with a grid, hexagonal grid in this case, and we want to have more than one attractor point like this and an attractor curve, and we want to control the influence of each attractor point. As you can see here, we control the influence of this point, we can also control the influence of the other point, and of course we can control the attractor curve like this. And at first I want to start just with one attractor point. I will delete all of this, and I want to show you step by step how this is done. Okay. At first I'm creating a hexagonal grid, going to vector, then to grid, hexagonal, and now I have my hexagonal grid here, and you can see it in the Rhino viewport. And now we have an overlap. We have this construction plane here, and we have the hexagonal grid. And when we go to vector and we're using the XY plane, put it into our grid, and now we can turn off the preview and we just see the hexagonal grid. By double click into the canvas and type in 11, we have a slider that goes from 0 to 100. Now I copy and paste this slider, and maybe I put it to 30. Double click into the slider, type in 30, said OK. I'm doing the same with the other, but I type in 50. So put this into my X and this into my Y. And now I'm simply create a point in Rhino, put it here to my plane. Now it's here, and I want to store this point in Grasshopper. I double click on the canvas, type in point, and now I have my point container here. When I click with the right mouse button to it, I come into a down menu, and here there's a command. It's set one point. I click there, and now I'm selecting my point, and it is stored here. Now I want to measure the distances between my attractor points and the center points of my cells, and those center points are stored here. There's another command. I need the distance command, and here's the distance node, and I put my center points for my cells into point A, and my attractor point, which is here, I put it into point B. And the next step is I create the scaling node. So this is the scaling node, and I put the cells into geometry and those points into center. And now I can see the scaling is already done. So I turn off my original grid, and you can see those hexagons are scaled by the factor of 0.5. It's a preset in this node, and I can override it with the distances. But before I do this, I need to remap the distances to another domain. I go onto the maps domain, and I use remap numbers. I put distances into value, and then I take the bounds component and construct domain component. So now I put distance into numbers and the numbers domain into source and the constructed domain into target, and I need two sliders here on the domain start and the domain end. I can define it by simply slider. Just type in slider, and this slider goes from 0 to 1, and I put this slider to 0.2, something around this. I copy and paste it, put this slider to 0.9, and now I connect map with vector, and I will flatten this list. The input from numbers needs to be flattened. And now I can see how my attractor point works. You can see the influence of this point. I can move it around and the grid is immediately scaled by this attractor point. So when I change the sliders here, I can invert the pattern. So like this. Oops. Don't scale around 0. It always gives you an error. So okay. Yeah. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.